So coming from the astronomy side of things, entrepreneurship isn't something that I expected to have a lot of opinions about. I can pinpoint the exact moment that I decided that I was going to be going into STEM and specifically astronomy as a career. I was at an observatory at a local outreach event where students and astronomers talked to the public about the constellations and pointed out the stars. And I had been interested in space before then, but I had never considered it to be a viable career option. After a particularly long conversation with a graduate student about his path to the stars, I went home and I planned out the next 10 years of my life to become an astronomer, a path that, with some deviations, I am still following to this day. All because someone showed me the stars and told me that I could. I was incredibly lucky to have that experience, and unfortunately not everyone does. That ripple effect that I experience is what I founded Solstice Outreach around. Who here has been in a planetarium before? Wow, that's a lot. I want you to think about where and when you went, what you were experiencing, what you were doing, and then what you saw and how it made you feel. Solstice takes that experience and brings it anywhere. We give interactive, engaging STEM outreach directly to communities through these portable planetarium shows. The field of space science has always drawn me for its ability to bring everyone together, and that's really what we're trying to do there. Everyone thinks that space is cool. That's evident by how many people here have been in a planetarium before. But not everyone thinks that space is relevant to them. Not everyone thinks that there is a space for them in space. And by bringing a space science directly to these communities that might otherwise never experience it, we connect the idea of this is cool to this is possible. Solstice is founded around this idea that if you can see it, you can be it. We bring the portable planetarium directly to these communities that might otherwise be out of reach, aiming specifically at younger audiences that haven't yet decided what is and isn't possible. We show them the stars, and more importantly, we show them someone that looks kind of like them, a planetarium presenter that is an undergraduate student at Ohio State who might just be 5, 10 years ahead of them in their career path. And through that, we're able to be that spark of inspiration. We're able to be that ripple effect. This is the pitch that we brought to the President's Buckeye Accelerator last April. We were one of 51 student ventures competing, and we made it through an initial round of pitches to the finale, which is what you see in these images here. Ultimately, we were selected for $50,000 in funding through the President's Buckeye Accelerator Prize, and this is what enabled us to purchase our first portable planetarium system. One of the main points of our pitch was the idea of space as a force for good, combining my background in astronomy and planetarium presenting with entrepreneurship. As a student startup, you hear quite a lot about corporate buzzwords like total addressable market and minimum viable product. But from the beginning, we knew that our real selling point wasn't our addressable market, it was our total inspirable market. Earlier, I asked you if you've been in a planetarium. This right here is a planetarium. That gray duffel bag on the left becomes this 5-meter wide big blue dome on the right. And those of you that are familiar with the Student Entrepreneurship Center will recognize that this is set up in that center. Once inflated, we can fit 25 adults or 40 young children inside. It can be set up in a gym, a cafeteria, an auditorium, even a large classroom or a conference room can suddenly become a planetarium. Once inside, students can ask questions. Everything is interactive. The students can talk directly with the planetarium presenter and guide their own show. Everything we do is based on who is in the dome. It's not a pre-recorded movie. It is a presentation that is given by an Ohio State student that is passionate about what they're talking about. If we have a student that really, really wants to see Mars, we can take them to Mars. Everything that they want to see is a possibility. Now, we had our first show ever last week. These are photos from those shows that we gave. And when you're doing something like this, when you're doing something this big, and especially the backing of the PBA prize, there's always this little voice in the back of your head that says, what if this doesn't work? We know that space is cool. We theoretically think that if you put kids in front of a bunch of space, they'll think it's interesting. But we don't know that until we do it. And so this bottom right corner is from our very, very first show, and the first few seconds of it, in fact. This is before we showed them anything. You can see that there's still a blue sky and clouds. There's no stars, there's no planets. We had not left the Earth yet. And you can see their faces. The moment that we brought them into this dome, they were transported to another reality. We had kids asking so many questions that we all but gave up on the planned programming that we had expected to be doing, and instead just interacted with them. They asked us questions, and we showed them the answer on the dome. I had one student that asked us if we would have enough time to see the heliosphere, and he was in 2nd grade. I had another student who said, I am so excited about this because I want to study the sun. And I told him, that's called being a heliophysicist, and it is a very good idea. In one of the shows that I was presenting for, in the middle of our conversation about Jupiter or wherever we were, I had one of these students stand up from where they were sitting, run up to me, and just wrap me in this big hug. He said nothing. He didn't explain. He just hugged me and then went and sat back down and continued watching the show. And that was the moment that I really realized that what we were doing was going to work. And it was actually having an impact on these students. And we were just getting started. If any of you here think that you know a group that might be interested in one of these planetarium shows, I implore you to reach out to me after this or with the links that I provided on this slide. Everything that we're doing is in pursuit of this idea of making the universe available to anyone, anytime, anywhere. We believe that access to STEM increases the possibilities, and Solstice increases access to STEM. Kids from underserved communities often don't believe that STEM is something that they're able to be good at, never mind something they can make into a career. But we know that that one moment can spark a lifetime of inspiration, a lifetime of curiosity. And we know that because it happened to me, and I believe that that can happen to anyone. So, thank you.